Hello and welcome to this episode of Community Connections, airing right here on OROMIA11. I am Anna Orr, and today we are talking about Diabetes Awareness Month. We are talking prevention, we are talking support and community. I have Joyce Mays here with me, and she is the Senior Program Coordinator over at Sabathani Community Center. This is going to be an episode you won't want to miss. Thank you for joining me today, Joyce Mays, here as the Senior Program Coordinator for Sabathani's Better Together Diabetes Support Group program.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Now, we are talking about diabetes awareness and prevention because, as many people may or may not know, November is Diabetes Awareness Month.
Right.
Can you talk to me a bit about what the work of Sabathani's Better Together program does out in the community here?
Well, Better Together is an initiative, a health initiative that's focused on the disparities of diabetes in the African American community. And primarily we work with people in South Minneapolis, which is where we're located. We have programming, exercise, cooking classes, support groups and those type of things to help you manage your diabetes. Or we're going to be having a class about diabetes prevention also coming up.
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later in the segment. Now, currently, you guys have the mission of, which seems to be very profound. It is to bridge the gap in diabetes care and prevention that has disproportionately affected our African American community. Can you talk about the inception of the Better Together program at Sabathani and how you all are actually navigating this work?
Well, the inception was before I started. I came to Sabathani in January, and the program was started in November, so it's actually been a year.
Okay.
And so before we got there, they had, we're trying to figure out the direction of the program. They had a health fair, and then by the time that I came on board, and my coworker, who I work closely with, Rebecca Floyd, we were in the meetings with United Healthcare, Humane, Clarence Jones of Humane, Dr. Rhonda Chacolas, Janie Westbrook from the YMCA. It was a partnership, and they helped us to be able to create these programs. There was the funding, the data, and that we all worked together very closely to bring all this to the community.
Now, according to the American Diabetes Association, African Americans are 77% higher risk of being diagnosed with diabetes or being pre-diabetic. What has this statistic looked like in participants of the support group?
We are finding that a lot of people don't realize that they have it. We work with the Minnesota Black Nurses Association, who have kindly come in to do some of our A1C testing. We had another group come in, and one of my seniors actually came in to be tested. She didn't have any symptoms, and so she was surprised at what the results were. So she wasn't really sure. She went to her doctor, and they told her, oh yes, you need to be on medication. She was at that stage, and so now she's a big participant in the program. She does the cooking classes, she does the exercise classes, and so it's just really important to stay on top of what your numbers are so that you can get the help and the support that you need.
Now, you spoke a bit about A1C testing. For people that may be unfamiliar with that, can you kind of share what that actually discloses to your care physician and to you?
It tells you, well, there's a scale on, it tells you where your numbers are on that scale, if you're low or if you're high, and if you're actually at risk for diabetes itself or pre-diabetes. I'm not very good at describing that, but that's why we have the nurses come in. So if you have questions, they can help you. I'm not a nurse.
I understand, and that's very important to work with healthcare professionals on
Yes.
site. I don't think I've heard of that before, with a support group of people being able to have someone there
Oh,
with you. So when you're hearing this information, somebody can actually start breaking it down to you about what that
yes.
looks like for your life.
Yes. That's very important to have that support there, especially if um, you had no idea. You know, it's almost like sometimes people, when they hear that diagnosis, it's like, oh no, am I, what's going to happen to me?
Hmm.
Am I good? Because when I was coming up, it used to be like, oh, that person has sugar, and that person had to get their foot cut off or something like that. And so sometimes people get scared and think that but it can be managed. And that's what we're trying to let people know. The diet is very important and the exercise is very important, and you can manage it and possibly not even have to go on medication.
Can you repeat that? That you will not have to go on medication, possibly, if you start
Possibly.
doing things like getting moving, changing
Yes.
your diet, and
Yes.
paying attention to your
And
sugar.
it helps to do it in a group setting because there's someone there to keep you accountable. And I think that's part of the problem that, we say we're going to do this and the doctor tells you, oh, you need to lose 10 pounds or, okay, well, then you see that piece of pie, sweet potato pie is calling you. So, but if you have someone in a group setting and say, hey, I have a recipe to how to make this pie. It's still sweet potato pie, but it doesn't have as much sugar, so I think that's part of the success of our participants is having that support, and they have fun too. It doesn't have to be so daunting or when you exercise, oh, I don't want to do it. They look forward to it. And they've been asking, when are you going to have that next class? So we're excited about that.
I think it's wonderful to hear you all creating such a sense of community around something, like you said, can be very daunting. But the accountability and the community support and peer-to-peer support seems to be working really well for you all.
Yes, it is.
Now, you mentioned the partnership with United Healthcare Catalyst as well as Human. What has that partnership meant to the Better Together program?
Oh, it's been really working out well because of the participants. Like we working with experts like Dr. Rhonda Chacolas, and I mentioned Clarence Jones from Human. We have Ms. Janie Westbrook from the YMCA, which they are able to provide not only the Catalyst Pro is not only able to provide financial support, but the expertise, the data, and we're able to create programming that we didn't have before. So it's been a big help to us.
Now, some of the programming you guys offer with the Better Together program, and I'd love to hear you speak a little bit more about this, is community-centric diabetes care, which we talked a little bit about with the cooking classes and the exercise group. But what else is being offered to participants of the Better Together program?
We have a Living with Chronic Disease Management course. That when people take that, they really love that because it also incorporates how to think about managing your disease. They have exercise as part of it, a little movement. We had chair yoga before the class started, which they really liked, and that's where the Y partnered with us on that part. And then we have recipes, healthy recipes. They like that. And even reading labels, you'll be surprised. A lot of people don't know what's in their food. So just that part of the class was a really big hit. We also have, where you have a task and you're accountable for completing it. So they would come to class and say, well, I'm going to eat more leafy greens this week. Then when you come back next week, did you eat your leafy greens? So that was a really good class. We also have the cooking classes, one that was in Spanish for his with Gisela. I can't remember Gisela's last name, but we have the African Heritage cooking class. So when you hear African Heritage, you think, oh, you know, it's African based, but it's actually just what our diet was, what it used to be, and how to cook healthy now, like not using all the fat, plant-based. Let's see, what else do we have going on right now? We have the dancing, the soul line dancing.
That sounds like a good time.
Miss Tina Jackson, it's every fourth Saturday of the month. That's one of our bigger classes. We had to move it to the gym.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's really popular. They have a lot of fun. And that's the point, you know, having fun while you're exercising. So you'll want to come back again. And let's see, we have Ready Steady. That's going on now. That's a balance class.
Okay. It sounds like you guys are offering so many different wraparound services, from fitness to food to giving people an opportunity to dance, as well as helping people that may have different levels of mobility. You just mentioned the class that was offered with chair exercises for people that may not be able to do traditional fitness classes. Everyone's not able to do circuit training,
right?
Things like that. I don't know about anybody else's knees, but mine hurt.
Right.
So I think it's really exciting to hear that there are different levels of access, but also opportunity for people to be a part of the Better Together program.
And
Now,
Sabathani, I just wanted to say, Sabathani also has a food shelf program. And so our participants are able to go down and get healthy foods to take home and cook. Also, and one of the classes that they do through the University of Minnesota, at the end of the class, they get a bag of groceries to take home with them so they can prepare the meal that they just learned how to cook in class. So I think that's really nice too.
I think that's so important, because we hear things like you should lose a couple pounds, or let's start changing our eating habits. We just talked about, before we got on air here, about the holiday season rolling around and people starting to get recipes together, or asking our elders for recipes so that they could start recreating some of our traditional meals during this holiday season, soul food and things like that. But there are simple modifications that we can make that still taste good, but also are a lot better for us.
Yes, I just left our holiday cooking class, the African Heritage holiday cooking class. So they're doing red beans and rice today.
That's important.
Yes.
That's important. That's a staple one for us
Yes,
now that the weather is
is.
starting to change. But
Right.
culturally, that's a big staple for us.
Yes, and we'll be offering that tomorrow also for the movie. I'm showing soul food. So we wanted to, we usually have popcorn, but I wanted to do something different and healthy.
Right.
And so we'll have a little sample for the...
Now the weather's going to be pretty chilly, so I'm excited to hear that people get an opportunity to get together, cozy up, eat something good, healthy for them, and watch a cult classic
Yes.
for our community. Now, just switching gears just a little bit, talk to me about the health referral network that you guys offer at the Better Together program.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. In October, or September, the Partners in Prevention Clinic is started at Sabathani. So it's on Thursdays, and so it's free. You can come in and get blood pressure checks and chat with a nurse, and they even have hand massages, which I've yet to be able to take advantage of. But that's been really helpful, especially, when people are there coming in to the building and then they see that it's there and just go down there and get checked out. We also work with, or have Southside Community Clinic.
Joyce, can you please talk to me about ways in which you guys are engaging minority leaders or community partners to support the amazing citizens of South Minneapolis as they navigate diabetes?
We've actually started a program called Reclaiming Our Village, and that's focused on Black women 35 and older who are suffering with diabetes or pre-diabetes or even have a family member. Again, it's a support group where they can come in a safe space, and we have healthy food, movement, and that was we're aligned with the Black Storytellers Alliance. So Mr. Zulu, Charmin Phipps, Dr. Ora Hoax, let's see, Trina Adler. We've been working with them on that, and that's been a really great experience for the participants in that program. I've also worked with Volunteers of America, which is a faith-based organization that some people don't realize. They've partnered with us in some of the exercise programs and healthy eating classes. Let's see, I've partnered with Minneapolis Community Ed with the Better Together. They changed the name. It used to be called Club Sugar, but now it's just called Better Together, and where they come together. And here again, it's more of a support group. You can they have a nurse in the that facilitates and asks questions, and they each month it's the first Friday of each month, and then they have a topic that they go over, like good carbs, bad carbs, or dietary restrictions, and I also work with a young lady named Dice, and she's phenomenal. She teaches the yoga. Has worked with us on the Reclaiming Our Village, and what I like about her, she talks about what it means to do these different movements, and because I've been in a couple classes where they just did it and you just followed along. She explains it, she modifies it for you, so I love working with her.
I think that's important, and to be able to give participants another way of exercising. I don't think I can think of any of my grandparents that would have considered yoga or thought it to be a way to get them moving, to start taking care of their health or to start taking better care of their bodies. So I'm excited to hear about where that continues to go now that you guys are working with Dice and doing yoga. Now, you spoke about having a class for Spanish speakers. Are you guys actively working on making sure that any of your other education and or awareness materials are linguistically diverse?
Right now, we just have Spanish speaking options, but we're forming a community advisory board. And so that is where that will come in. We'll try and reach out to other communities. But basically, Sabathani, being unapologetically Black, that's whom we focus on. But then a lot of our population is also Spanish speaking. So that's where we are right now. Not to say we won't focus on others in the future.
Okay. So for those that are interested in participating in the Better Together program, please stay up to date with the Sabathani website, checking back to make sure that they are able to hold to this promise here Ms. Mays is making for you to start reaching out and provide more information in a language that you'll be able to utilize and share amongst your networks really soon. Now talk to me about how you all use ethnic media and or social media to reach the different demographics you all support at Better Together.
Well, it just so happens that spokesman recorder and Miss Tracy Dillard is like stone's throw away, and she's a big part of our communications. We use her newspaper, KMOJ, Mr. Walter Q. Bear Banks, He's a big supporter of our program, especially our health fairs. He comes and DJs and promotes, and we have one of our communications manager, Justin Leaf. He reaches out to all the other media to update them on what we're doing. And then we have our website, www.sabathani.org, Facebook and Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you can follow us there.
Your username is Better Together, or it is Sabathani?
Sabathani.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that people are able to find you guys
Oh,
if they are looking for you
right.
on Facebook and or Instagram, so that they can stay connected to the amazing work you guys are doing.
Yes, thank you, Sabathani.
Absolutely. Now talk to me about what keeps you personally connected to this work.
Well, I love working with seniors, but my best friend's mother, when we were growing up, and we're still best friends, and her mother has passed on, but she suffered from diabetes. And so seeing her suffering, and then also one of my good friends, Sharon White Rabbit, she suffered from diabetes, which led to a kidney disease, which ultimately she passed away from. And so part of it is just not being aware, like I said earlier. So being able to do this work and reach out to people, and even in a conversation, we're not even talking about it, but maybe we're talking about food, and then I mention it, hey, do you know, we're doing this at Sabathani, or, you need.
Speaking not too long ago about reading food labels and starting to make better food choices. And someone was just talking to me about patty pies. Patti LaBelle, the singer, is also a famous, well-known cook as well. And she has diabetes and came out with a cookbook, a soul food cookbook, as well as Smokey Robinson. Came out with a cookbook that is diabetic friendly and modifies all of our cultural recipes so that we're able to still have great food, great quality food, good taste, but also helps us stick to a better health regimen, like you said, so that when we get back to the Better Together group and we're talking about accountability and eating our leafy greens, we can say, yes, we are.
Yes.
Now, for anybody that is interested in coming to an upcoming event, what do you guys have on the calendar for the Better Together program at Sabathani?
Okay, let's see. Well, we have Soul Line Dancing is actually this Saturday at 10:30. I'm not sure when this is airing, but that's November 23rd, and every fourth Saturday, 10:30 to 12.
At Sabathani, correct?
At Sabathani, in the gym that was just renovated by the Minnesota Timberwolves and U.S. Bank.
Wow.
So it's really fabulous. We also have the Peruvian Afro-Peruvian dance. That's the second Saturday of every month. That's at 11 a.m. And that's in our dance studio. We also have the African Heritage Holiday Cooking class going on Wednesdays from 10 to 12. I think there's about 6 more sessions, and you'd have to check because for the holidays there's a couple that we're skipping or changing the day.
Which makes sense.
We also have, let's see, Ready Steady is on Thursday. There's only a couple classes left for that. That's at, let's see, 10 o'clock. We have the Walking Club. My coworker, Rebecca Floyd, heads that up. Now, they walk around the neighborhood, but now that the weather is getting a little bit chilly, they walk on the second floor. And on the floor, as you go around, there's different places that has, okay, stop here and do 10 arm raises or leg raises, and so that's really nice. They last week went around like 20 times.
Wow.
So that's a good way to get your walking in, and community. There, people like to they look forward to that too. So that's every Thursday at 9:30. We also have Reclaiming Our Village December 14th, and that's next door at the senior housing. Now,
Okay.
I have an office over there, so I utilize that space sometimes. We have classes, which is where the African Heritage cooking class is, by the way. And that's at 11 to 1, Reclaiming Our Village. Let's see, what else we have going on.
Now, for those who are not familiar with South Minneapolis or the Sabathani Community Center, can you please provide them with the address as well as the phone number so that they can stay connected to the work that you guys are doing, but also the great work that's happening at Sabathani?
Okay. Sabathani Community Center is located at 310 East 38th Street in Minneapolis. And next door is the senior housing at 3701 3rd Avenue. And the phone number, you can call my line at 612-821-2313, or go to the website. All the events and programs are on there. Some of them are under senior programs, or like the events. We just had a blood drive last week with the Red Cross. I forgot to mention them. It's a lot going on at Sabathani, and people come in and they're happy that, oh, I used to come here when I was a child, or I'm so glad to see Sabathani is doing well. So we're excited to be there, bringing all these programs back to the community.
It's such an important and vital place to our community, and it's great to hear that programming, necessary programming, is still taking place there, and that they are still actively finding ways to support our community at large.
Yes, yes.
Now, lastly, I just want you to look in this camera here and talk to a viewer at home that feels like they may be experiencing some symptoms of diabetes, or they may have just been told that they're pre-diabetic, but they're scared and they don't know where to begin or what they should be doing next. Can you just give them some encouragement, but also some much needed direction as to navigate next steps?
I would say talk to your doctor, your provider, and then call Sabathani.
Okay.
We're there to help you in any way that we can, support you in your journey, and knowing that it's not like necessarily a death sentence like some people think. No, it's manageable. We have the tools to help you manage through the cooking classes, the exercise classes, and just support. We're there to support you, and know that diabetes is not the end.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining me today, Joyce.
Thank you, Anne. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today's episode of Community Connections. I hope that something said during this conversation, you have found that extra pump you need to make sure that you talk to your primary care physician about what your A1C levels are, but better yet, that you start your road to prevention and a better, healthy quality of life if you are dealing with any type of diabetic issue. As always, my name is Anna Orr, and thank you for watching this episode of Community Connections, airing right here on OROMIA11. I look forward to connecting again with you soon.